So who's actually at war in the Middle East? You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Well, the obvious smart-ass answer at the top is, who is it? Now that's not to make light of the horrendous situations occurring in countries across the Middle East, but it is to make light of the disillusionment and the confusion that people across the world experience when they try to understand what's going on in this part of the globe. Who is actually fighting who? Saudi Arabia is a friend of the United States, but an enemy of the United States' closest ally, Israel, and then they seem to be funding people who are fighting each other. It's confusing. So let's introduce the idea of proxies. You have probably heard proxies discussed at some point, either in a class on Vietnam War, or maybe you've heard it discussed in a one-sided way on the mainstream news in your country. For instance, Matt and I, oh hi, that's Matt behind the camera, I'm Ben, this is stuff they don't want you to know. We both live in the United States. And if you live in the United States and you watch mainstream news, then that means that if you hear the term proxy, you hear it applied to a group called Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran. And what a proxy is a way for a country to sort of plausibly deny involvement in something by assisting another group in another country rather than fighting an out-and-out war themselves. And now in today's globally connected world, there are many, many reasons why most countries want to avoid war with one another. Open war, that is. If you live outside of the United States, then there's a much greater chance that you've heard of a proxy called MEK, and that is allegedly the US and Israel proxy operating in Iran. It's considered a terrorist group by the Iranian government, but not by the United States. Does this mean that all the disparate conflicts in the Middle East are ultimately just sort of fingers on two big hands finding different ways to fight thumb wars? Well, in some cases, yes, that's what it means. Not in every case. That kind of generalization would be unfair. Of course, we know that there are huge divisions between Sunni and Shia branches of Islam, and we know that Saudi Arabia is not attempting to give Iran a chance at regional hegemony, and Iran certainly doesn't like Saudi Arabia's enormous influence on the region. The sad truth about many of these sorts of conflicts is that they are often portrayed in a way that most justifies the action of the country that you are watching the news in. So this is just a quick update, and that is some of the stuff that people don't want you to know about proxies. Proxies are not just something that one country has. One of the reasons that Afghanistan is so messed up today is because the US and Russia fought a proxy war in that country. So when a country becomes a proxy rather than a group of people, what happens is these two countries want to expand their spheres of influence, right? You'll remember from our episodes on Red Shambhala and stuff like that, but they want to avoid the economic damage of actually having their country attacked, or their more valuable assets. So boom, a country of bystanders becomes a regional killing field. And of course, it should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway, this is a relatively common and unfortunate occurrence throughout history during times of war. So this might be the part for anyone who's watched the news where you say, hey Matt, hey Ben, why aren't you guys talking about one of the biggest bad guys in the Middle East right now? One of the groups that everybody, despite their problems, can agree to hate. Why aren't you talking about the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS? That's because that is the subject of our very next episode. We have been paying attention to all the theories, all the fringe media, and all the mainstream media coming out from multiple countries about ISIS, how it started, where it's going, and perhaps most importantly, who actually controls it. Stay tuned. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like to hear about in this episode. You can drop by our comments here. You can also find us on our website, stufftheydon'twantyouto.com, and we have new videos coming out every single week. Now, Matt, this might be the part of the show where we're in that small frame. So here's the awkward comparison I was thinking of making that I didn't make yet, which is, but tell me what you think about this. The enemy of my enemy is like my Facebook friend. We're not that close, but we like each other's statuses.